What's up, YouTubers? This is your boy, Big Metroid Fan 12, coming to you with another video game review. And in this review, I'm going to talk about the game WWF Attitude, which was released on the Nintendo 64, Game Boy Color, PlayStation, and Sega Dreamcast by Acclaim Sports and Acclaim Studios. Now, WWF Attitude is a sequel to the game WWF Warzone, which was, I know, was released for the Nintendo 64. I don't know about the other consoles, but it is like the sequel to that, and pretty much the last game that was released by Acclaim before WWF signed a contract with THQ to make the WWF games. I think it was released before WWF WrestleMania 2000. I'm not 100% sure on that. If that's the case, you can mention it in the comment section of the video. Now, for the sake of this review, I'm going to talk about the Game Boy Color version of WWF Attitude. Now, the game modes for WWF Attitude in terms of the Game Boy Color version are Start Mode, Password, Training Mode, Option, and Biography. With Start Mode is where you pretty much play the bulk of the game in, you know what I'm saying, which consists of um, Challenge Mode, Career Mode, King of the Ring, Versus Mode, Tag Team, and Cage, you know. Now with the Challenge Mode, you pick a specific superstar and you face off against the other superstars in like 20 matches to become WWF champion, you know what I'm saying? In the career mode, you pretty much face off against the other 19 superstars in in successive matches, you know what I'm saying? And they pretty much keep a record of how many wins you obtain through the course of the career mode, you know what I'm saying? Now then there's pretty much the King of the Ring mode, which is based off of the King of the Ring tournament that haven't been used for the last like I think 4 years. You know what I'm saying? Which is, and of course, King of the Ring is pretty much an 8 superstar elimination tournament where the winner is determined. You know what I'm saying? At specific at a particular point. You know what I'm saying? Face off against 3 um, successive superstars to win it. You know. Now the versus mode is pretty much the exhibition mode of the game where you pretty much pick 2 specific superstars to face off in the match, you know what I'm saying? And pretty much, of course, there's the tag team mode where you pick 2 tag teams to pretty much square off against each other in a normal match and stuff like that. And the cage mode is pretty much a cage match where the only way to win is to escape, you know what I'm saying? Now, the password mode is pretty much where you insert a specific password to leave to save your progress. It's not necessarily to save progress per se, but you use the password mode to pick up where you left off in terms of the challenge mode and the career mode and stuff like that. And pretty much the training mode pretty much gets you used to the gameplay and controls of WWF Attitude and stuff like that. And pretty much as far as the biography is concerned, it pretty much shows you the name of each superstar, their height, their weight, their hometown, and their finisher and stuff like that. And the roster for WWF Attitude for the Game Boy Color are Stone Cold Steve Austin, The Rock, Mankind, Undertaker, pretty much DX, which consists of Triple H, Road Dogg, Billy Gunn, and X Pac. And there's like Kane, Sable, Edge, Al Snow, Ken Shamrock, Val Venus, Big Boss Man, Jeff Jarrett, Goldust, Godfather, and Taka Michinoku. Now, as far as the graphics and design for the Game Boy Color are the Game Boy Color version of WWF Attitude. it's mediocre at best, but it didn't age well and everything, which is kind of shocking in that regard because the color palette for the Game Boy Color version of WWF Attitude is actually better than the color palette for the Game Boy Color version of WrestleMania 2000 for the, you know, which is kind of surprising in that regard. Now, the controls and gameplay for the Game Boy Color version of WWF Attitude is okay, but it's not really impressive, you know what I'm saying? Even though you can do different holds like a German suplex or suplex or something like that. Now, the soundtrack to me is pretty much the worst part of the game when you talk about the Game Boy Color version of WrestleMania of WWF Attitude and stuff like that. It's pretty much forgettable at best, you know what I'm saying? It was just really a shame because the roster for the Game Boy Color version of WWF Attitude is pretty decent, you know what I'm saying? It's kind of like it could have been better, you know what I'm saying? And pretty much as a whole, a lot of the WWF games that was released on the Game Boy Color range from mediocre to straight up awful, and the Game Boy Color version of WWF Attitude is just bad. You know what I'm saying? Now, to be honest, you're better off playing the Nintendo 64, Dreamcast, and PlayStation versions of WWF Attitude. You know what I'm saying? Now, as far as the score, I definitely give the Game Boy Color version of WWF Attitude a 4 out of 10. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, the game, um, the um, the menu. I like the menu for the game. The color palette is pretty good, but there wasn't enough to save this particular version of WWF Attitude when you talk about the Game Boy Color version. With that being said, sound off in the comment section about the Game Boy Color version of WWF Attitude. You know what I'm saying? Do you like it? Do you enjoy it? Is it a guilty pleasure? You can even mention the other three versions of WWF Attitude, whether it's the Nintendo 64 version, the PlayStation version, or the Dreamcast version. You know what I'm saying? If you like this video, don't hesitate to click the thumbs up button. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell notification button. This is your boy Big Metro Fan 12 signing off.